Hello, welcome to my channel. I actually had a request by a viewer to show how to use the dresser module from the NRAAS mod and to also just show what settings that I use, so that's what we'll do in today's video. If you do want a more in-depth tutorial on how to use NRAAS in general, I suggest, looking up on YouTube. I think even a cotton sock has an entire sort of tutorial set that you can look up online on like their Tumblr or on YouTube. So this is just in particular for the dresser module. There are also some tutorials on how to export and import settings if you don't want to have to keep manually changing the settings for each save file that you create. I actually did that recently, so I'm going to import the settings that I had saved that I typically use. So I'm going to go to their city hall since he doesn't have a computer. You click on NRAAS, and you have to click on Overwatch to do this in order to import or export settings. For some reason, it's just Overwatch is the one that allows it. You click on Immediate, and then I already exported the settings from a different save file, so I'm going to import them, and then I just click All because that's what I had set up in it. I hit Save Settings because that's what I named it, and that's it. Everything is imported now. Whatever I had is set up here. So with that out of the way, we are then going to just take a look at what settings that I do use, just in case anybody's interested. So for dresser in particular, because I did mention that's what this video is about, if you go to check outfits, if you want to manually change your settings for dresser, this is where you go. It's in this little part of the pie menu. There's two separate things for both makeup and for accessories. I'll just go into makeup really quick. What I like to do is go into random makeup, and as you can see, this is all set to 0, these parts here. What I do is I leave these parts because they don't really matter, since all you have to really do is change the number of the chance you want for random accessories or makeup to be added onto a sim when you load into a save, or if a sim is born. What I typically just do is put the chance to 0 for both the female chance and male chance, and that way it doesn't randomize regardless. So this number won't even matter. I just leave it at that since it has it set to 0. It has no chance of it randomizing. I do that for both hair and makeup, and that's pretty much it for dresser. I'll just leave it at that since I'm talking about dresser today. Now that we've gone over the settings that I use, I just want to show what dresser does in general. In case for anyone, of course, that's what this video is about, if you want to know. So if you click on a particular sim, I love to use this, especially if you use default hair replacements. If you go into, let's say, the university world and you use a default hair replacement, particularly for the feminine hairs, they get messed up. And dresser really comes in handy because you don't have to go into create a sim in order to change a hair for a sim. What you could instead do is click on dresser after clicking on NRAAS in the pie menu. Then you go to dresser and you click on re-roll. This is important. You click on re-roll, and then I will just click on re-roll hair, and that's it. And then what it does is change the hair. Now this is something to keep in mind, like you can re-roll a couple of times if you want to. That's typically what I do until I find a hair that I feel is suitable for the sim or that I just prefer. Again, if you use default replacement hairs, it will sometimes use a default replacement hair because those are technically still by EA. Some custom hairs are disabled for random, so that means that they won't randomize onto a sim. So it depends. Now this is I think a hair that might be by EA, that might be a default replacement, I'm not sure. But that's just how the randomizer part of this mod works. It's also the same for clothing. So if you go to reroll and then you click on, let's say reroll current outfit only. So this is just, he's currently in his everyday wear. It's only going to re-roll his current outfit. So whatever he's wearing will change, but it will randomize it. So it is something to keep in mind that it randomizes sometimes, like how the game itself randomizes. It's just going to be random stuff. So he's literally wearing snow boots, some sweatpants, and a t-shirt. And these are by EA. Sometimes it depends on the custom content that you have. It may reroll custom content if it's enabled for a random, but a lot of the time custom content isn't done like that to avoid these circumstances. So it's just something to keep in mind. If a sim has a really ridiculous outfit on at start and you decide I want something a little less ridiculous but I don't really feel like going to change your clothing, this is typically what I use it for. Even if they're in their winter wear and they're a sim that was, I don't know, made before the season's expansion pack, so it'll have random clothing for winter wear. That's when I'll typically go into the settings for that and change it. Though there's also other things you can do. So you can check outfits. This comes in handy. I'll click on it, though it's not going to do anything because all it did was add 24 body hair. That's one thing to note. It will add body hair sometimes. But if nothing is invalid, meaning let's say something is broken or it added on some kind of CC that like maybe doesn't work properly or something of the matter, even especially for kids, if something's wrong with their outfit, if you have maybe, let's say, the dreaded, horrid, high knee-high boots and you have broken like some kind of CC in your game, it can fix that. That's one thing. I always recommend, obviously, if something like that's in your game, redo your entire, obviously, that's a whole nother topic. You need to fix the game and remove whatever was broken in the first place. But if you don't have the time to, you want to continue a save and you didn't get to do it yet, you can use it for this. But anyway, I digress on that. There's other options for dresser as well. So you don't have to just do... you don't have to just do it for re-rolling outfits. You can add things to it. You can rotate outfits, things like that. So let's say if you go to add, you can actually add in another outfit for that category. You want to add in every day. You can do that. It'll add in another everyday outfit. Mind you, it looks ridiculous, okay? But you can do it that way, and then you can go and change it if you want to. I guess, like, if you want to go with the stylist station and go change it, but it'll already have a second outfit, like, thing set up and stuff like that. You can use it for different things, and then you can also go into the rotate outfits, and it will change the outfit for that category so it kind of comes in handy. Let's say you don't want your sim to have to manually change your clothing. You can use it for things like that, and they'll rotate between their two everyday outfits. Let's say you've set two different outfits for them. They'll rotate through that instead of just keep wearing the same one until you manually change it. So it has some usability for things like that there. You can also remove stuff from them. Let's say let's say you didn't do import settings yet, and you wanted to remove something from a sim. Let's say you wanted to remove the glasses that comes with Jaden James' outfit. You can remove all accessories on every outfit that they have, and it will remove his glasses. And there you don't have to worry about him having those accessories if you didn't want them anymore, and you don't have to go into create a sim in order to do that. So it will remove all of them. So whatever he's wearing, it will remove. But if you didn't want that, then it will remove it, and you don't have to worry about it really like stopping your gameplay because you can just do it by a click of a couple of buttons, right? So it comes in handy with things like that. I would also say you can also copy things if you want to. So let's say there's a sim you're playing that's a pre-made sim, right? Or you want a certain accessory, but you don't feel like going into. Let's do it this way, okay? So let me actually go to the other sim in this household. I think this is David. Let's say that you want to apply the glasses that he is wearing to every single outfit that he is wearing. And you didn't want to have to spend all this time and create a sim when you're making the sim or to alter their outfits. You can go into copy. You can copy accessory to all outfits. Copy the accessories on the current outfit to all of his outfits. Yes. And it will do that for all of his outfits. So let's say you have a tattoo and you don't feel like going into create a sim to have to apply it and have to load everything. It will take this is one thing to note though, because you have to be careful. If there's a certain type of accessory that you have that is on their everyday outfit, but you don't want it to clash with their other outfit, let's say their formal wear, it is something to note. But let's say you have only a tattoo accessory on your sim's everyday outfit in particular, or like a nose ring and a tattoo, and you want that on every single outfit that they have. You can copy with this already in live mode. You don't have to go into create a sim or create the sim from scratch and painstakingly apply it and wait for it to load. You can just copy it to all their outfits after already making them. So that's something that comes in handy to save a lot of time, a lot of loading time, and a lot of pain, honestly, because that can be really annoying having to wait. Even with the smooth patch, I've noticed, because I use a lot of custom content, it can take a long time to still load the accessories and things like that because I have so much of it. Protected, I'm not really sure what this does either. Honestly, I don't touch these certain things. It might mean that when you say protected, the outfit that they're wearing is protected and won't change. But you can set it to false if you want to. The default's false, but you can turn it on true. Like I said, you can remove certain things. So let's say there's a sim in town that has makeup that you cannot stand looking at. Okay? You can do whatever you want with their makeup by either removing it from the current outfit only. You can remove it from all of their outfits, because typically a lot of the time when there's makeup on a sim, it's usually applied to all outfits. So you can remove it on all outfits. And you can make them go barefaced without any makeup if you want. And then if you want to make it easier, then you can go into create a sim and redo that sim's makeup, but they'll have a fresh face and you won't have to worry about taking things off and putting things on. You know what I mean? Like, they'll already be set up. Or if you just simply don't want them to wear the makeup that they have, but you don't feel like having to go and change their makeup, removing the makeup will then just simply be another option. You know what I mean? So there's different things that you can do. You can even remove body hair on all outfits. The hair that was just added to him supposedly, you can remove it as well. So you have options to remove and add basically anything you want. Now the store button, this I know I never use. So honestly, I don't think I'm going to talk or touch that because I don't typically use that, and it's not something I'm familiar with. If anyone else is familiar with it, if there's been other videos on it, I would say then go check those out, because I've never used this button in particular. So that's really all there is to it. I mean, that's what NRAAS Dresser does. It has very specific purpose for outfits, for townies, for pre-made sims, for NPCs. I just don't feel like taking the time to having to go into to create a sim in the stylist station or something. This is another option. My favorite part, really, like I mentioned, is to re-roll hairs for sims that were pre-made by the Sims team, because a lot of the time, even like if they're, like I said, if their hairs are broken, or if they have a hair that I just simply don't like, or if the sim was made through story progression and then it rolls a hair on them that I think is atrocious, that I don't want, that's from EA, that's not a default replacement, then I could go ahead and hit re-roll a couple of times, and eventually I do usually find a hair that I like. So there's that. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, don't forget to leave a comment below. Let me know if this was helpful for you, and also don't forget to give the video a like, because that really helps out the video and my channel as well. Also, maybe consider subscribing if you want to see more of my content in the future. I do make quite a bit of Sims 3 content. I sprinkle in a little bit of Sims 2 and 4 here and there, and I also sometimes like to play, demo gameplays for other types of like indie games or RPGs and things like that, because I do like a variety of gaming. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good one, and take care. Bye!